What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about The Wizard of Oz. I believe you could find the PDF somewhere. Just make sure you probably use DuckDuckGo, it'll probably be easier. But with The Wizard of Oz, or what really happened to America, I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, but you got these characters. It's a weird movie. Like, when you think about it, like, who would think to create a movie like that? Because it's very random. Like, the character selection is very random. But this PDF here, I'm gonna be going through it, and it's very interesting because they actually talk about how the movie was actually a subliminally created to represent what happened to America. Because when the movie came out, it came out around the time when all of our gold was taken from us, and we were given fake Federal Reserve notes. And this movie goes into depth about the Strawman, it represents the money that was taken from us, and then it goes in with the Strawman, the IRS, and like this whole new structure that was adopted into America. How the Strawman and the IRS and then the Social Security number and birth certificate and all that other stuff, and the court system and all that stuff is represented in this movie. So this movie, The Wizard of Oz, is actually talking about and referencing the straw man, how our gold got taken away from us, and how the average person that wants to free themselves are capable of doing it if they run into the right people, run into the right information, and etc. Now let's go into depth. Let's just read a little bit. So let's see here. Let's scroll down a bit. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just as you can read between the glory lines in the newspaper on any day and discover clues issued by the powers that be, if you look hard enough as to what is actually going on, such notice can also be found in lighter fare, like movies such as The Wizard of Oz. Any allegory for the new state of affairs in America in the 1930s. Following the stock market crash and factual bankruptcy of the U.S. government immediately thereafter, the setting was Kansas, heartland of America and geographical center of the USA. In comes the twister, the tornado, whirling confusion, the stock market crash, theft of America's gold, U.S. bankruptcy, the Great Depression, and whisked Dorthy and Toto up into a new artificial dimension somewhere above the solid grounds of Kansas. When they finally land in Oz, Dorothy comments to her little companion Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. That's right. After the bankruptcy, Kansas was no longer just plain old Kansas. It was now KS, artificial corporate venue of the bankrupt United States newly established federal territory, part of the federal zone. And Dorothy and Toto were inside this state, the living natural man's name is never spelled in all capital letters, but in uppercase and lowercase, i.e. John Doe. The artificial man's name is spelled in all capital letters, John Doe. Look on your driver's license and see what is issued to. You got it right, you're Strawman. The all capital letter, i.e. by using the capital letter B as in black, just by using the letter in the word of formed means organization. Only the small letter B in black means color, and it don't mean race of people. The same is with the word W, or the letter W for white. Corporate name created by birth certificate. Note: Cox, C.C. Cox criminal cases, year 1700. Taken from the dictionary of Banking, 6th edition, London, about 1926, by William Thomson, Irish Land Laws. Where does the word English come from? So they talk about this part is pretty interesting, but let's scroll down. Okay, so we return back to the Wizard of Oz, and what's crazy is that they put it exactly in the title. And so, what is Oz? You know, like Wizard of Oz. Like, what the hell is Oz? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is Oz? You know, but if you look at the definition of Oz, this straight up shocked me because it's right in your face. The definition of Oz is what? It's ounces. Look, definition of Oz, OZ. It's an ounce. So they're literally talking about the gold right here, guys, in this movie. They're talking about the gold in the movie. It's right in our faces. In the 1930s, the all capital letters written Strawman, newly created artificial aspect of the former American sovereigns, had no brain, and Americans were too confused and distracted by all the commotion to figure out that they even had a strawman. The Scarecrow identified his strawman persona for Dorothy. Some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. Of course, I'm not bright about doing things, and in his classic song, If I Only Had a Brain, the Scarecrow strawman succinctly argued, I'd unravel every riddle for every individual in trouble or in pain. Translation: once one discovers that his strawman exists, all political, legal mysteries, complexities, and confusions are resolved, and once one takes legal title to his strawman, i.e. redemption, he can protect himself from legal trouble or legal damage. The Tin Man, or TIN, taxpayer identification number. This is pretty crazy right here, because like when he breaks it down like this, it's common sense. You look at Oz. What is Oz? That's ounces. You look at Strawman. They say Strawman in the freaking. They don't even really say Scarecrow. They straight up say Strawman in the movie. Then they say Tin Man. What is a tin? A taxpayer identification number. So if you go to the IRS, IRS, you type in tin number. Tin number right here. What is a tin number? Tax. Let's see if we could. Tin number, tax identification number, guys. How crazy is that? The Tin Man, taxpayer. So after you read this PDF and you look at it, where it's coming from, the movie gets even more entertaining and interesting when you watch it. You know, the Tin Man, or taxpayer identification number man, was a hollow man of metal, a vessel or vehicle, right? Newly created commercial code, words for the straw man, just like the Scarecrow straw man had no brain. This Tin Man vessel had no heart. Both were artificial persons. One of the definitions of tin in Webster's dictionary is counterfeit. The Tin Man also represented the mechanical and heartless aspect of commerce and commercial law. Just like they say in Mafia, nothing personal, it's just business. So how the Tin Man is trying to search for a heart, right? The IRS does not have no heart. Like, if you owe money, they won't forgive you. Be like, okay, you know, just da-da-da-da-da. I know it's hard for you. I know I'm looking at your bank account. You obviously don't have no money, so, you know, we're gonna let it go. No, they don't do that. They straight up hit you hard, like they don't give a crap. They have no heart, and it's not nothing personal. Like how they said, it's just business. That's commerce. That's law. That's how it's written up. That's how they do it. They have attitude that is blah, 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 blah. The heartless Tin Man also carried an axe, traditional symbol for God, i.e. modern commercial law. In most earlier dominant civilizations, including fascist states, in the words of the Tin Man expressing relief after Dorothy had oiled his arm, I've held that axe up for ages. The word ace is etymologically related to the word axe, and in a deck of cards, the only one above the king is the ace, God. One of the Axis powers of World War II, Italy was a fascist state. The symbol for fascism in the fascists, a bundle of rods with an axe bound up in the middle and its blade projecting. So we get to the lion. The lion, or king of beasts, is symbolic of some members of our society. You, your family, and friends, all regarded as nothing more than animals, cattle, to be bred in birth, herded and harvested, and sold and slaughtered according to the whims of those who run the global plantation. So pretty much what he's getting to, we'll get into it more. But as far as like we're all like the lions, we have this beast, we have this beastly thing that we have the we have what it takes to stand up for ourselves against them and to rise up and to take our power back. But we don't have the courage. We lack the courage because we're scared. And also too, when you notice, when you get into this game or this space, you notice a lot of people are held back of fear. Oh, what if I get on the do not detain list? What if something bad happens? What if I get arrested? That first of all, that don't make sense. But I heard that once. But I've been there too. I was thinking like, oh shoot, what if I do this? What if I do that? Would something bad happen? But I really thought about it. It's like when you really think about it, the answer is most likely no. So let's just continue. So yes, there are a lot of hot talkers out there. Just listen to your local radio talk shows. The American men love to talk, but none of them have courage or balls to do a damn thing. The American people are scared shitless of the corporate, federal, and local revenue collectors, cops, judges, and their so-called courtrooms of justice. Nobody wants to stand up for themselves in front of cops. Nobody wants to stand up for themselves in front of judges. Even though they have the power to take their power back and such, they just lack the courage. They're scared. After your first round with the UCC constituted IRS defending your tin man, dummy corporation, vessel, vehicle, individual, employee, public corporation, all capital letters, written, juristic, name, artificial person, strawman, you probably lost some of your courage too. You didn't know it, but the IRS has been dealing with you strictly under the laws of commerce, and they are just like the Tin Man, heartless. The law can be found in the form of real law, not a law. Lawyers say that they are not in law. At law means around, about, not true. To be in law, you must be lawful. One more note on the cowardly lion. Do you remember how he needed or believed he wanted courage? Do you remember how he got that courage? Yes, the great Wizard of Oz pinned a medal on his chest. Yes, a badge of courage. With the badge, the little coward was now a big, big man. Oh, excuse me, I meant to say lion, not man. I would not want to imply that because a fictitious wizard, man of authority, placed a badge on this coward's chest, that now he was a big, brave man. Why a statement like that just might hurt the feelings of some of the badge to 10 brave men we know as law enforcement who carry no bond. To really make the movie more realistic, the man of authority, wizard, should have put a gun on his hip. Now there I go again. I sure don't want to make it like I'm picking one, the big brave man protecting our freedoms out there, because I know how fast there are when you need them to help you. Yeah, there are sure some real brave men. To find the wizard, you had to follow the yellow brick road. Follow the trail of America's stolen gold from the Moors, and you will find the thief who stole it. In the beginning of the movie, the wizard was represented by the traveling mystic, Professor Marvel, whom Dorothy encountered when she ran away with Toto. His macabre shingled touted that he was acclaimed by the crowned heads of Europe, past, present, and future. Boy, that Professor Marvel must have been a regular wizard to be acclaimed by the future crown heads of Europe before they were ever crowned. Before the bankers stole America, they had long since disempowered the Christian monarchies of Europe and looted their kingdoms. Maybe this Professor Marvel fellow knew something about the future that old folks didn't. With the human skull peering down from its painted perch above the door inside his wagon, the good professor lectured Dorothy of the priests of Isis and Orias, and the days of the pharaohs of Egypt, which was of dark skin. Orias, the Sirius constellation, where the Africans comes from according to them, that's their doctrine. No, the skull head was all the indigenous people of color. When Dorothy Gale and her new friends emerged from the forest, they related to see the Emerald City. Note, Emerald City. Note, emerald color was green for the green hub hue, or hue means of color of the people who lived there. Before them, only a short jaunt away, the Wicked Witch of the West, desperate for the ruby slippers that Dorothy was wearing, would have to make her move before our heroes were inside the walls. A significant point here is that in the original book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, published in 1936, the slippers were not ruby or red, but silver. At the time of the book was written, America still had all its silver, and the value of 1 ounce of gold was set at 15 ounces of silver. Silver being the most plentiful of the two metals. Just as the silver slippers carried Dorothy, America's stockpile of silver and gold back in the currency carried the country to a position of preeminence throughout the world at the time. But as mentioned, when the movie came out in 1939, the slippers were not silver but red. Red is the color of red ink in a pen, symbolized the blood of the real flesh and human. Between 1916 and 1933, most of America's gold was rounded up by the privately owned Federal Reserve banks and shipped off to the Fed owners in England and Germany. The reason for this was that the Federal Reserve notes could be redeemed in gold, and the use of Federal Reserve notes carried an interest penalty that could only be paid in gold. We traded gold for worthless paper with green ink on it, and our previous currency, United States notes, carried no interest requirement, but such was the bargain that came with the Federal Reserve notes. The reason JFK was murdered was because he was reissuing interest-free United States notes. Go to any coin store and see or buy a 1963 U.S. Not Federal Reserve note. When bankruptcy was declared in 1933, Americans were required to turn in all gold coin, gold bullion, gold certificates by May 1st, May Day, the birthday of communism in Bolivia. In 1776, the birthday of the IRS, and celebrated worldwide as the International Workers' Holiday, a holy day to the wizard and his tribe. Talking to people who were alive at that time, you may find out the general sentiment towards such thievery bordered on a second revolution. Maybe it was just too much of a clue or too much salt in the wound of Dorothy to be skipping down the yellow brick road in a pair of silver slippers, so for whatever reason, a color less likely to annoy or provoke was selected. With regard to the choice of ruby or red colored slippers, red's primary significance, at least on documents and the like, is that it is the color of blood, as in flesh and blood, and symbolizes a living soul, breathing man or woman, non-corporate, non-artificial. This is a really good read guide. Still a lot more to read. I don't know if I'll get into it all the way, but one thing I wanted to say that kind of even further confirms what's going on. They start getting into the Wicked Witch of the West and how the Wicked Witch of the West represents like the judge or the law or the fake law, and how the Wicked Witch of the West is dressed in like an all black coat or whatever you call it. And if you look at a judge, they're dressed in that same all black trench coat. Now, what the part that I wanted to get into as far as how it's crazy, as far as like more proof that this movie is a representation with this whole new system that we're in, as far as the Strawman and blah blah blah, is that when you look at the witch, right, when you go in the beginning of the movie, when Dorothy lands into the Munchkin town, right, with all the Munchkins, the little people. So the house, Dorothy's house, landed on the Wicked Witch of the East house, Wicked Witch of the East body, and she died. and then so then she was next to the Wicked Witch of the North, talking to her because she was the good witch, and then and then the Wicked Witch of the West comes, and then she's like, oh, you know, the Wicked Witch, your sister, Wicked Witch of the East, her slippers are right there. And then when the black Wicked Witch of the West, the green, whatever, she walked over there to go get it, and then it appeared on Dorothy's feet. And the Wicked Witch of the West couldn't get it off of Dorothy's feet. She said, what she said, she's like, I can't get those slippers, but you know, I'll get them next time, or something like that. And you know, if you're looking at it, you know, if you're watching it older, it's like, why can't she get those slippers? You know what I mean? Like, why can't she just take those slippers off, boop, boop, boop? You know what I'm saying? But if you think about it, as far as what he's saying, as far as she's a judge and the law and stuff like that, she wasn't in Dorothy's jurisdiction to even take the slippers, because she landed in what was it? She was the Wicked Witch of the West, and she came over to either the Wicked Witch of the East or the Wicked Witch of the the Witch of the North, the Good Witch. She was in a totally different territory. She wasn't in her own territory, so that's why she was able to get the slippers off of Dorothy, because she had no jurisdiction to. Because I mean, that's the only explanation I could think of. Because like, why else? You know what I'm saying? Like movie thinking, right? If you think of it from a movie's perspective, with none of this assumption of Strawman correlation with it, why would that witch not be like, yo, give me those shoes, run them shoes, you know what I'm saying? Run them shoes right now, you know what I'm saying? Or take those shoes off of Dorothy. Why couldn't she do that? Why she just stand there and say, I can't get those shoes off of you, but I'll get them from you some way, somehow, next time, something like that, then dipped out, you know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. So this movie, when you read this PDF file, it is very, very interesting. She talks more about the Wicked Witch of the East. And if you think about it, the Witch of the North, right? Where's North? North is pointing up. So you could think of the Witch of the North is good, because she's God's law. She's natural law. Because when you point, where's North pointed? It's, if you look at a compass, it's pointing up. It's at the top. And who's at top? You know, who's on the top? Who's up there? Who's up there? That's God up there, right? So God's law, natural's law. She's the good witch, right? Then you got the Wicked Witch of the East, you know, and the Wicked Witch of the West. And if you think about Witch of the West of the West, the western part of the world, which is us, created this whole entire system. So I mean, it can't just be, you know, no coincidence. This is a lot of stuff. So they get kind of deeper. But that was like the juiciest part, like the beginning, the juiciest part. The title, The Wizard of Oz. What is Oz? You know what I'm saying? Ounces. The Yellow Brick Road. She lands into Munction Town. You know, and it's you know, I probably could give you some more like, oh, look at this, look at that. But if you just watch the movie, it's kind of more entertaining if you kind of think of it yourself after you get these little hints. But yeah, guys, just take a read of this again. It's called The Wizard of Oz, or What Really Happened to America, PDF. Read it and then rewatch the movie of The Wizard of Oz. It's a lot more entertaining. Yeah, it's more entertaining too. But yeah, guys, I just want to share that with you. Make sure you like, comment this video, share this video to help out the channel. And I think that's all I got for you guys. So thanks for sticking around, and see you guys in another video. Peace out.